All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Squat Strength with owner, creator, founder, producer, actor. Oh, wait, no, that's wrong. Sasquatch? That's right. Tanner, certified personal trainer, nutritionist, strength coach, and injury specialist. Because let's face it, lived in the low country of South Carolina for some time, and there's a lot of, we'll say, advanced in age individuals who I've worked with that have replacement parts. Which brings me to the subject of today's video. One of the most commonly injured muscle groups, areas of the body, the joints, shoulders. And here's really going to be the takeaway points of this whole video. A lot of people train them like garbage. I'm just going to say it straight out like that. Most people prioritize weight over range of motion, over the mobility aspect, over the depth. Sure, you can press 300 pounds, but you stop it around your chin, depending on, your beard length, of course. But yeah, that might qualify you in, some lifting competitions. But cool. You get a plaque on the wall, and at age 48, you get a partial replacement, and you're kind of out of the game. So let's focus on this video being about avoiding being that guy who's spending there just doing openers 15 freaking minutes trying to get their shoulder joints warmed up because they're crickety, crackety, and probably flappity and flippity. I don't know. Sound like a Rice Krispies commercial. Back to the points. Just stop trying to load the bar, man. Nobody cares. You're not going to go to a bar and some beautiful woman's going to roll it next to you. Or pretty little guy. I don't know what you're into. Or them. Or they. Or all the things. Rolls with you. Hey, man. How much you shoulder press? Yeah, I do like 275. Yeah. What's that do for you? Makes me open to the idea of you buying a drink. Yeah, it's not going to work like that. They came up to you and they're talking about your aesthetics. You're gold. You're already in. And you're both already probably hammered and going to do some reckless stuff anyway. Don't share a needle. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, you watch a lot of videos of influencers, professionals, bodybuilders, just grabbing these unfathomable heavy weights and just getting them up like that. Not even hitting a full parallel. Arms very contracted. Sure, that's going to get you size to a degree. A lot of size if you're on gear. But let's face it, if you're following this channel, you might be taking it, but I'm trying to lead you down the path of doing this natural, without all the injections, without all the stuff that's going to cause some health issues down the road, unless you're a medical professional and you know what you're doing, or you have one. But if you have one, you're probably not listening to me because you got way more money and you're following somebody way smarter than me. But let's get to the point of not only improving the aesthetics and resiliency of your shoulders, but let's talk about, like you hear all the time, bulletproofing, man. Because progressive overload is not just ideal for the muscles, it's ideal for the connective tissue, for the joints. Mind you, yes, there's a ring light on my glasses because I'm blind as hell and I can't wear contacts today. So deal with it having a four-eyed host, you bastards. But getting that progressive overload on your mobility as well, it's going to help you in the long run. It's going to keep you out of the injury field. It's going to keep you fresh in the game. It's going to keep the gains coming because you're not going to have to sit there and nurse an injury for 6 to 18 weeks. You're not going to have to spend insane amounts of money on surgery or getting tendons or ligaments sutured. I mean, there's so much that can go wrong with it. I don't know if you've ever had a shoulder impingement. I have. Worst thing ever. And I'm a side sleeper, so fucking horrible. But while your joints cannot recover, the same as your muscles, hence A lot of people in gear you see have so many joint issues because muscles are just getting just massive recovery from it. Excuse me, excess gear. That was gross. But the connect tissue doesn't work like that. There's no injectable that's gonna make that keep up. And if you're a natural, your risk of injury is actually going to be lower because you're not increasing this weight while the joint's still just trying to struggle to not snap like a freeze-dried rubber band. But the whole point of this endless tangent of mine is if you start working on hitting these depths of hitting this full movement in the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months, you're going to notice a level of not only growth and development, but a lot less pain in your day-to-day life, your activities, even all your other lifts. I mean, yeah, it goes without saying you shoulder press that much. I said earlier, that's freaking dope. But if you can't get the full movement yet, build up to it. There's no shame in dropping the weight by 50, 60% and starting over, because when you're hitting that deep eccentric movement, you're going to get into a better muscle building state than you did with those partials anyway. So you're going to keep seeing results. You're actually going to get much stronger in the long run. So be mindful of your movement, as the yogis love to say, which, by the way, best people to train in the world, because you don't have to teach them any breath work. They know what the hell they're doing. And they typically look a lot better in clothes than you. So there's that. Nothing wrong with feeling like a piece of crap while somebody pays you to train them. It's a nice humbling experience, brings you back down to earth. Like, oh, cool, great abs. Meanwhile, I'm a fat sack of human. Anyway, back to the point. Since shoulder injuries, along with the injuries, are kind of the things you hear the most about, there are things I really want to touch base on over the next couple of segments. Today being shoulders, legs down the road. We'll figure it out as we go. And that brings me to this point. A lot of people, you'll prioritize these big movements such as presses over your accessory work. And while that's great for your larger muscle groups, personally, I will, and I'm past the beginner and intermediate stage, but I will blast my shoulders with accessory work. So that way I get to my presses, I'm pretty exhausted. It doesn't take much to stimulate them to get that growth. And my risk of injury is just so much lower, because I don't want to be taken out of the game by a 100-pound dumbbell. Nobody wants that. But let's go over a few clips right here, and I'm gonna show you what I mean by these enhanced range of motions compared to what you've probably been taught via the TikTok or the Gram or the Pornhub X videos if you're nasty. But right here we have a client of mine, little CC, hitting some lateral raises, seated. A great way to conserve energy, so you can really just focus on the mind-muscle connection, focus on the movement. It just stabilizes you a little bit more. Ground yourself through your heels, your ass. And you'll notice there's a little bit of a rocking motion. And there's a reason for that. It's to kind of keep yourself in line, and that way you can focus on controlling the eccentric movement. And then you have variations of this movement. Here's a goofy fat bastard doing them as well. And you see that extra height on them. You see most people stopping here. Getting up here, getting that extra concentric movement allows you to control it more and get more out of that stretch, get more out of that downward drop. And, you can do these standing, which is always great. I personally prefer to do them seated, but you can't always get a bench. Sometimes your ass hurts from leg day. Sometimes you got a case of blue balls. Never mind. So you're standing. Same movement. You just kind of follow the rock a little bit more so you don't feel so off kilter. That's me personally. That's my preference. As long as it feels comfortable and you feel the muscle really getting strained, that's where you want to be. And then, of course, we have people who already have pre-existing injuries, who have already caused that damage to their shoulder, who whether it be through the gym, their job, genetics, whatever the case may be. So right here we have one of the Lifetime Fitness delt machines, and it's a great machine. My first experience with one similar to this was from Hammer Strength. Like, I feel like a lot of people experience their equipment first. Now, mind you, there's no way to get it quite as high. You just can't with this setup, especially when you're 6 foot stupid as hell. But the glory of this equipment is, especially if you have an injury, it keeps you on track, and it keeps a constant stream of tension on the, muscle, for lack of a better term, because that is the real term. Oh, God. I wish somebody more intelligent ran this channel. But there's so many variations to work your mid delts. There's workouts I didn't do today because having to film some of these, I went off my normal routine. A lot of the time I like to do some cable pulls, especially with the row D-bar. Get them up. Mind you, for most people, that'll cause some wrist injury issues. Just kind of depends on your build, but might link a video like that on another day. But after doing these isolation workouts for the mid delt, I like to move on to the front delt, which doesn't take much, because consider the fact that on any of your chest movements, your front delt is being recruited. It's being blasted. So I can't even say I do these every week necessarily, depending on how the proximity of the most recent chest day and how hard that load kind of fell onto the front delt for me. Because, sometimes you're feeling froggy and you put in that extra work and you're still hurting 2.5 days, 3 days later. But again, the range of motion, I want you guys to pay attention. Now, mind you, you can come up powerfully, get them up, and just control them on the way down. And when it comes to how you hold your hands, like Ricky Bobby, I don't always know what to do with my hands. Play with a lightweight. Some people, it's more comfortable to hold them up and more of a hammer grip. Some people, you want a straight overhand. I kind of swing on the way through because I found it just avoids any extra friction on my shoulder to rotate my grip a little bit on the way up and on the way down. Given I'm a wide, broad ochre bastard, so a lot of that could have to do with avoiding my own fat ass. Then, you've bombed your shoulders. You've hit the major nodes. That's when I like to sprinkle in a little bit of shrugs, hit the traps. Mind you, I did not do these this day. I'm actually not doing them right now on this mesocycle at all because I'm doing so many bent over row variations. But with your shrugs, after you hit your primary sets, this is CC again on a Smith machine. Remember, control that downward. Pop it up, control the downward. Smith machine's a great variation for this because it saves your back all kinds of hassle. It's an easy setup. Just smoothly guides you so you can just focus again on the mind muscle connection and that deep stretch. And then you get the big guy. Not big in a good way sometimes. Getting it up, and then you'll notice a little jiggle right there because it's hot in that gym and things stick. No matter how much baby powder you use. And especially if you run out of baby powder after having to cut some product you're about to sell to make enough money because people don't like your videos. Jesus. But after you're done with your main shrugs, behind the back shrugs, they're always great. A lot of people just see the visible part of the trap, and they think that's all there is to it. That's all there is to train. Your traps run all the way down to your middle back, and they're just crucial for good posture, having a pain-free back. You want every bit of your posterior chain just strong as hail in your day-to-day life. So behind the back shrugs, I highly suggest getting into them. Probably want to use roughly a 30% lighter load than you would for standard shrugs, especially at first. And I want to go a little more like, drop it down by 40% until you get used to the movement. But highly suggest I'm on a Smith machine. It could be a bit wonky on a power rack with a barbell. Just because you can imagine if you got any sort of donk, and this white guy does, you got to pivot forward so you're not just catching that shelf of chub the whole time. But definitely look into those. There's many other variations for the middle and lower traps on your back, so consider that. But after we've given the delts a little bit of a break, bombing the traps, that's about the time it comes to press. And again, we have a much better looking model / demonstrator / athlete here. Just getting that nice control. See how deep she's actually going, letting that shoulder stretch all the way up, pausing in the bottom, powering it back up. It's going to do you so much justice in the long run. Highly suggest you haven't already modifying your techniques on a lot of these movements. Save yourself the pain, the hassle, and get your results quicker. Look better in a tank top. Look better in clothes. Look better out of clothes. Not to mention, man, do that when you wear your brassiere. It stays up higher and tighter. Makes your pec titties pop. Oh, wait. No, I don't wear a bra. I don't know what you're talking about. So, here's another variation of me doing it. Keeping the back arch is very important with any of your big compound lifts. Driving through the heels, keeping that power arch going. It's going to help you stabilize, help you maintain going down deep. Now, Dr. Mike Israel ever watches this video, highly doubt. Apologize, I'm not using Versa grips. I know. You can yell at me umpteen times. I got the Cobras, man. I like having that built-in wrist wrap, even when I'm not using the strap. It's just me, though. Just kind of fits better, so hopefully I don't have a Red Dawn moment and have a giant Russian man coming after me. Or would that be great? But back to the subject points, man. This is, the majority of a shoulder day. Yeah, there's some rear delt work thrown in typically. I had to go past that. I had to skip that on this session. I did way too many bent over barbell rows of different variations on back day, which was 2 days prior. And my rear delts, man, they were feeling it. And last thing I want to do is overtrain and just kind of take away from my own projection of ascension into the world of eventually not having a neck. One day. But let's stop prioritizing the presses. Let's stop prioritizing the giant loaded plates. Not necessary. Just going to cause you harm in the long run. Again, if you ever had an impingement, you're going to know why you don't want to do that. But, it's not a big muscle group. It's extremely vital, especially to aesthetics. But just, maybe change just the order of your workout. If you don't take my advice to change the motion, even doing that, you might get some better results. You might not have to press as much. You might, marginally take down the chance of getting fucked up out of it. And, this last bullet point, there's not a need for it. You can read it at your own risk. And, yeah. That's the gist of this video, man. Just throw away the ego. Stop copying people you see online. Stop trying to be one of the big boys. Because chances are, you already are in here. Anywho, yeah, no small dogs today. Believe it or not. They're traders. They're in the other room with my significant other, who is also a trader for keeping the dogs. So I'll make it up to you guys next time. It'll just be a straight video of me lathered in Purina wet food, so they stay around and they're happy. Huh. That actually might get me arrested. In fact, I'm pretty sure I saw one of those videos online one time and had some suspect knocks at my door. Anyhow, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you next time. Toodles. Thought I would leave you without a video of a small dog? Ha! Good try. Say hi, small dog. She's trying to rip my throat out, so I gotta end this before it gets violent. So, toodles.